Welcome to part 5 of the top 7 basic functions you should know in Excel. In this video we're going to focus on the CONCAT function. This function combines the values from multiple cells into one. So my data that I'm looking at in front of me has a first name and a surname in separate cells, and there may be times where I want to pull that information into one cell to then transfer it to somewhere else. So CONCAT is a really useful way of doing that. So again, there's a number of different ways you can do functions. You can use the formula tab at the top in the ribbon. You can use the FX just underneath the ribbon, or you can just start typing the information in. So this is a little bit more complex, this one. I'm going to need a few bits of information. So I'm going to start with Alice Johnson at the top, and that's the cell where I want the full name to appear. So I'm going to do equals and concat. So CONCAT. It used to be called concatenate, but now it's been shortened to CONCAT. And when I click concat, it's asking me what information I want to search for. So there's a few things I need to do in here. So first off, I need to tell which cell I'm pulling the first set of data from. So it's going to be Alice. And once I've done that, I need to break it up. So I'm going to break it up with a comma. And you can see the little pop-up box below that is now saying you need to pop your next set of information in. So I want Johnson. That's my next set. And if I wanted to pull more together, I would keep doing that with commas in the middle of them. I must remember, because I've got an open bracket, to close the bracket, and then I'm going to press enter. So it's now pulled that information together, but I've got a little bit of an issue in that there's no space in between Alice and Johnson, and it kind of looks a little bit weird. And when I pull that into another system, or I pull that data off, it's not always going to be clear what's the first name and what's the last name. So I need to tell the system to put a space in there. I need to tell it to put an empty space. So I'm going to go back onto Alice Johnson, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the formula bar just above my data, where the F and the X is, because I need to put a space in between the cells A2 and B2. So I'm going to click after the comma, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some speech marks. So I'm going to put a speech mark in there. I'm going to put a space, because that's what I want it to do. I want it to create a space for me in between the two different sets of data that it's pulling in. I'm going to put speech mark again in to close it, because I just want one space. And because that speech mark is right next to the final cell, I need to again break it up with a comma. So what I'm telling the system to do now is, if I just move my mouse, I'm telling it to look at the column A, then I'm telling it to put in a space, and then I'm telling it to look at column B. So when I press enter this time, now you can see Alice Johnson now has a space in between those two, and if I just go back up, you can see the formula that I entered there. And now if I just want to complete that, all I need to do is on the Alice Johnson, if I'm clicked on there, just drag that down and it'll pull all of that information through, because I've just dragged that function down. And I can now see I have all of that information, the full name, in that one cell. So I can now use that, pull that off at whatever I need to do. So have a go at concat or concatenate. Have a go at the rest of the functions in the top 7 basic list. Please do like and subscribe, and let me know if you'd like to see any other videos.